Hello, hello. Time for a Monday live stream. Auction is going on, so I'm going to check the auction. Everything looks okay. Let's see. I'm going to put a like on all the comments that I see during the auction. Hey, Jim Main's here. Keith Ricketts. You're not first. You missed it by 1 second. Jim beat you by 1 second. Tommy Taylor, hello, hello. Thomas H. Got the notification this time. Good, good. Alan Cole is here. Early bird gets the worm. Yes, yes. TJ is here. Hey, how's it going? I'm checking the auction. Hold on. Trying to put likes on everything that I see. That way you know that I can see it. YouTube is funny that sometimes you can't always see all the comments. And if you're new, you don't know what's going on, I'm checking the auction. I post items for sale every week, and then I announce the winners at 9 p.m. Eastern time. You just bid in the comment section. And we settle in an email for payment information and stuff. I don't know if I said that right. We work out payment arrangements by email, and address and all that, addresses. And hey, Mike Mason's here. Styley Designs. Hello, hello. Yeah. So it's been raining for 2 days now. The plants like it. I don't know how the weather is where you're at. Yeah, so what are the topics for tonight? And should I have a door prize? I should. But it's hard to judge who wins the door prize. Jesse's here. What's up, guys? The auction fun again. Good items, Pat. Thank you, thank you. Rain, yes, all kinds of rain. And thunderstorms, too. Now, you probably can't hear the bell because of this noise canceling on the microphone. There's a church just down this, like a half a block down the street, and the bells ring every hour. I got the window slightly open this time. Mike says, I should be napping, but it's too wet. Yeah. But I was napping all morning today. Yeah, just finishing up some items and stuff. It's in the thumbnail. This is available in the auction. I had to be careful that I don't drop it. Yeah, stone is tough material, but it is brittle. You can get a nice sharp edge though. This is another one of them shark fin knives. Let's see. What did I miss? Alan Cole says, I'm waking up. Night shift is imminent. Time to get breakfast. Dang. What a time to be waking up. Keith says, just got done face snapping a pineapple pizza. Yeah. Just don't say that too loud. Some people don't like that. They don't like pineapple on pizza. Mike says, I heard all the raindrops on your latest videos. Yeah, made me want to nap. Not nap. Maybe want to take a nap, not nap some rocks. Yeah. Well, it's I think all those videos, I have a 4 video series on flakes, right? A couple of sample flakes, and I think most of those videos have rain. Yeah, so you can use those to try to fall asleep. Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I'll just keep that blade in front of me. Hopefully I won't drop it if I end up picking it up again. All right, so we've got maybe half the people that normally show up. We can start. If you have any information on nap-ins, I'm looking for information on nap-ins. Yeah, I got my list updated on April 10th, but I'm gonna try to do it once a month. Do an update once a month. Let's see. Thomas H is here. Did I see you earlier? Let's see. No. I finally got a good indoor setup for napping, says Thomas. The key really is just a good fan and ventilation. Yeah. It is true. You probably can't hear the bells, right? I keep stopping to listen to the bells. We'll see. All right, Stephen Benson is here. May 15th to 18th, napping in Sparta, Wisconsin. All right, let me see what we got for Wisconsin. I don't know if I have that one. Okay, the ones I have for Wisconsin are the annual Copper Pound nap-in, the 4 Lakes nap-in, and that's it. So there is a Sparta, Wisconsin nap-in. Okay, normally the way I do nap-in information is I need the physical address. I'll show you an example. This is the annual Copper Pound nap-in. I need the physical address or some sort of indicator of where it is, if it's a park or whatever, and then contact phone numbers, at least one. The date you provided me the date, and if it's on Facebook or where what's the source? You gave me the name of the nap-in and you gave me the date, but I need all this other information. Yeah, if you could please. UVW. Yeah, because or I can try to look it up. Let me write that down so that I will look it up if you don't have the other information. Thank you, by the way. Sparta, Wisconsin nap-in. May 15 through 18. Okay. Yeah, Copper Pound is in Hickston. Yep. Let's see. Did I get that wrong? Let me see. It says Alma Center, Wisconsin. It should be Hickston, Wisconsin. So I looked up the Hickston Alma Center, but I think the name of the town is Alma Center. Yeah. I looked it up on the internet. Let me see here. Been getting curious about the Illinois one in Fairview Heights. Do you know them? Illinois. What do I have for Illinois? Let's see. I got a bunch in Illinois. Okay. So let's see. No, I don't have a bunch. Where did they all go? Come on. There it is. All right. So what's it called? The one you said, Fairview Heights. Okay, that one's called the Devil's Hole Nap-In. Okay, Devil's Hole Nap-In, Pleasant Ridge Park, 401 Pleasant Ridge Road, Fairview Heights, Illinois. The phone number 618-397-1377. May 30th through June 2nd, 2024. So I don't have the date for that this year, but it's coming up. Now this is May to June, which I don't know if that makes sense. Do they have it going on the whole month? But you can call the number. I should call that number too, or just text and ask when the nap-in is. Okay? Sponsored by Megalithics. Sponsored by what? At the bottom line, Larry Kinsella, Megalithics. Yeah. So I got to look up the Sparta, Wisconsin nap-in. See if I can find that online somewhere so I can get all the information. Steven Benson, can I message it? Yeah. Just send me an email to jackcrafty2@gmail.com. Jackcrafty, one word, the number 2, at gmail.com. Jackcrafty2@gmail.com. There's no messaging on YouTube. So you have to send me an email. Let's see. Mike Mason. It says call for date. Yeah. But where? On my notes or somewhere on the internet? Let's see. Alma Center, Hickston, same. Steve Benson. Okay, Alma Center and Hickston are the same. Gritty the Pooh is here. Good afternoon. Afternoon. Let's see. Pretty sure that area does the medieval LARP stuff too, says Mike. The call for dates on my notes. Yeah. Yeah. I put that there so that I'll remind myself to call if I need to call. Or I don't call, I text. But I put call for dates. I should say text for date. But oh well. I try to keep track of all the nap-ins. I got all the nap-ins that I know of here that I've researched. I didn't know about that Spartan, Wisconsin nap-in. Let's see. Hey, Sal's in the house. Good evening, Patrick. Hello to everybody. I'm driving home in the rain. I'll be listening. All right, cool. I'm not talking very much today. Yeah. Yeah, lately I've been dragging. I haven't been doing much. I did a lot in the beginning of the week last week. I did a lot of lawn work and I tried to clean up a bunch of stuff for my shop, and I found some old to-do lists and old rocks that I had stashed. But then after that, my energy went way down after a couple of days or a few days of that. Let's see. It could be the pollen or something outside. Stephen Benson just sent the email with the info. Okay, so let me see. Since that one's coming up soon, let me. I don't have the email unless you sent it within 5 seconds ago. Let's see if it's in the spam folder. No, I haven't got the email yet. jackcrafty2@gmail.com. Let's see. Nodule productivity. Yeah, I need to get that one. Revise that one. That's sitting in a box gathering dust. Yes, sir. Let's see. I'm going to write my email and show it so that there's no mistaking what the email is. jackcrafty2@gmail.com. jackcrafty2. Okay. Is that clear enough? I don't know if that's clear enough. There's no spaces in there or anything. So I have not received an email yet. Now, there was a someone sent me a message by, let's see. Okay, Stephen Benson sent me a Instagram or Facebook message. Okay, let's see. Sparta Eagles Canoe River Rendezvous and Knapping. Okay, so this is a fall, and then there must be a spring one. Yeah. Okay, so spring and fall. Okay, yeah. Thanks for that. I don't know how you found my Facebook with my email. How did you manage to do that? Thank you very much. I didn't know about this one. Fancy flyer and everything. So let's see if I can show it. Let's see. Do I do it this way? It might show up better this way. I'm looking for a physical address on here. Let me see. I'll find a physical address. It says it's located on 9901 State Highway 21 on north side of Sparta. Okay, so I guess the physical address is 9901 State Highway 21, Sparta, Wisconsin. And this is the contact info. Let's see if it'll show up. What are you doing? Turn it carefully. Let's see. It does show up. Okay. Brian, 608-272-3508. You can take a snapshot of that. Those are the contact numbers and the address just above it. But there's no zip code. I'll get the whole address and then I'll update my napkin list. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see. What did I miss? Oh, Craig Carnell. Are you trolling me? Let's see. Gary says, how do I make this darn laptop brighter? Just shine a light on it. Jesse says, Mike, what's your page name again? Let's see. Craig Carnell. Like my lower half is straight. I don't get the joke. Is that a joke? Let's see. Let me see. I can't understand some of this stuff. You guys are writing in code now. Keith says, good info on the Amoeba Church, Sal. I'll have to remember that. Jesse says, a lot of the crafty fanatics have their own pages trying to find all you guys. Yeah. Tell us where you're at. If you can, type out your YouTube name. You can't put a direct link, but you can type out your YouTube name, channel name, I should say. You can type out your channel name so that we can find you on YouTube if you have a channel that's different from your name that you're commenting with. Craig says, you have to be mentally ill to get my jokes. I see. Okay. That's funny. What is this at 4758? Stephen Vincent says, I learned just about everything I know about napping from watching your videos for the past 2 years. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Stephen. Tell me how you found me on Facebook. Yeah. Let me see it. Are we friends on Facebook? Yeah, we're friends on Facebook. I can't depend on my memory for anything. See, if I had remembered that, I'd be in better shape. Or I'd be in better shape and then I'd remember it. Yeah. Let me see. I'm glad you learned from my videos. It makes me feel better that I'm not wasting my time. Yeah. Okay, so Mike Mason has a channel, right? But he's part of my handle, I think, at 4758. That's how they find you on YouTube. Let me see. Never heard of that before. You're probably abbreviating it. I'll just do. Let's see. Mike Mason 4758. Yes. I am subscribed to your channel. Okay. Oh yeah, you clarified it. You got to have your name in front. Yeah, but just do it right next time then. Don't just put at 4758. But for brains gets your jokes, Craig. Yeah. So you can be my interpreter. Yeah. Let's see. Mike says my last short was for about you or was okay. Let me see. Let me see. Where is the shorts? Okay. Yeah, you got one of those glass insulators and the purple dish. Yeah. No such things as coincidences, huh? Let's see. Dang thumbnails. I want new ones. Let's see. Jesse says, Pat, once again, I learned something from you no one else explains. On napping flat flakes, the flakes won't run until you get rid of the slight concavity and make it convex. That is true. Now, well, of course, if I said it, it's got to be true, right? I'm surprised no one else has mentioned that, but you need a convex surface with no dips in there, because especially when it starts to get thin, if there's a dip in the flake path, it'll snap right there, especially when it's starting to get really thin and you're removing really thin flakes. But that's when it counts. Yeah. When you're just bifacing and spalling and stuff, that's not real napping. Real napping doesn't start happening until you get past 5:1 with the thickness ratio. When you start getting thin. Yeah. Let's see. Sal says, Keith, have you ever thought about making custom marbles for competition players? Let's see. Jesse. The same reason the core blade guys knock off the small concave piece before running the next blade or getting the hollow part out from the bulb. Yes. Yep. You got it. Gary says, I picked up 16 insulators for $1 each. Dang. That was better than I got. Where are you getting them? Don't just say you got them. Say where so that we can all get some more. Yeah. See, Mike Mason says, I got that insulator before you had them in that video. And the second to last piece of my purple plate looks like the piece you just snapped. Yeah. It is a coincidence. Jesse says, always wondered why I could nap a thick flick but not a thin one. Yep. It's because thick flakes are not real napping. Yeah. All righty. At a little flea market, says Gary. Oh, okay, so we can't go to the flea market, but at least we know we can maybe find those insulators at flea markets. I never seen insulators like that at flea markets around here, though, or anywhere that I've been. Yeah, I had no idea that collecting those was even a thing until very recently. Stream is early today. Oh, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's when it's usually done on Mondays. Let's see. Right? I hope I didn't start too early. Let's see. Keith says, I've got one of those blue glass insulators. Someone better than me has to nap it or it will just stay round. Yeah, but if it's unchipped and in perfect condition, someone might buy it from you. Steven says, napping insulators was a challenge at Sparta last spring. We still have insulators on poles in Wisconsin. Yeah. When I used to live in Texas, we still had some surviving up on poles in Texas, but it was kind of rare to see those still there. They were on the ground a lot. I found a bunch of them on the ground, but it's rare to see them still on poles. Dwayne's here. Hey, Dwayne Griffin. How's it going? Peter Cohn is here. I think I lost track of time. That's my end. I see. Put a battery in your phone. Put a battery in your phone or adjust for daylight savings. Keith says, it is unchipped, perfect old condition. Yeah, don't ruin the insulator until you are for sure you can only get maybe $2 for it. And if that's not worth it, then you can nap it. Yeah. Somebody on here last time when I showed the insulators that I bought, somebody identified it right away, and sure enough, the manufacturer was correct. So some of you guys have deep knowledge of these things. Sal says, I have some of those insulators at my parents' house that I got from Italy, Texas. We moved there when I was 10 or 12. I need to find them. Yeah. It's a challenge to nap insulators. I've only done one before, and it was a real hassle just to get a good sized piece out of it. We'll see on this batch. It's probably easier if I find a way to cut the glass instead of trying to break the glass. Angela, hey. Let's see. So yeah, I've seen points supposedly made from insulators that are really long. So I don't know if they're telling the truth or not, because it's hard to get a long piece of glass from an insulator unless it's a really big insulator. I was considering a flame cut on the insulator, says Mike. What is a flame cut? I've never seen glass cut with a flame. Okay, so Angela is one of those one of many faces of Mr. Troll here. That's funny. Let's see. You have not gotten a timeout. I looked at your channel activity, and you've only had 2 comments in your whole life, and they're just now. That means you just now created that persona. Yeah, I'm flattered. Really? No. Funny. So yeah, what are we gonna talk about today? Somebody. Oh, thanks. Love the channel. Well, thank you very much. What are we gonna talk about today? Um, you can put jokes in the comment section if you want. We don't have to talk about anything in particular. And you can troll me if you want. If you haven't trolled before, I don't delete trolls or put them in timeout unless they start going into these weird zones. Mike Mason says, soak the string in rubbing alcohol, wrap around the glass, light it up, give it a moment, put it in cold water. Yeah, I doubt that works on an insulator. It might work on a thin wine bottle or beer bottle, but insulator glass is thick. Mike Mason says, oh yeah, I found a 5-leaf clover today. I've never been able to find one of those, or even a 4. Gary says, somebody must know how to turn the brightness up. You go into settings on the display. If you're on your computer, you go to computer settings and then you go to display and then hit the display button, and then you should be able to see like a bar where you can, move the little round dot to brighter or less bright. Keith says insulators would have to be cut with a diamond saw, most likely. Yes, I think so. Alan Cole says, sorry guys, I'm getting ready for work. How do I know? I don't know. Peter says, going to face snap a burrito and tequila today. Not because Cinco de Mayo, but just because that's what I do every day. Every single day? Yeah, sounds like me having the same thing to eat every day. Let's see. So, Gary, did you figure it out on the computer? Just go to your settings. And then on the settings, it should have a display or something like that, like a TV screen icon. It says display. And you click on that, and it should be able to adjust the brightness. Peter says, yeah, pretty much every day. Eats the same thing every day, pretty much. Gary says, not yet. I'm challenged. hasn't figured it out yet. Let's see. Mike says, well, angels, if you say it's not okay, we believe you. That's from the old show. Let's see. I lived on nothing but Gardettos and Red Bull for 2 years, says Angela. Keith says, if we are not careful, e-money will be in the auction outbidding all of us. Yeah. Ed has not shown up in the chat yet, has he? Ed Gould is e-money, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, he goes in. He had a bunch of people sniping his bids in the beginning, and then people couldn't see his bids, and he couldn't see other people's bids. He's had the most trouble with any person I've ever had on the auction. Ed Gould. Let's see. Something caused you to lose half your teeth? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mike didn't mean to say Angela, but he meant to say Angela, right? Because his thumbs are not working. He can't type out the correct word. Mm-hmm. All right, so what do we got here? My Ishii point from an insulator. All right, so there's Ishii point from an insulator. Awesome. Steve Benson. Yeah, thanks for that. And you said they had a bunch of insulators at the Knapping. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Mike says, not going to lie, I was expecting Mike T when I said, light it up. Smallzilla's here. Harley's here. The Law of the West. Love the sign. Yep. There it is. I hate to do it, but it's the Law of the West. Yeah. There's two parts to that saying. I hate to do it, but it's the Law of the West. It happens a lot in Flintknapping. You hate to do it, but you got to do it. It's the law. Let's see. So Harley's napping while watching the live stream. Got some basalt that's kicking my butt. It's going to be a challenge series for my YouTube channel once uploaded. Nice. Nice. That's a good idea. Yeah. Basalt is always good to have as a challenge. How do I know? I don't know. Someone else sent me a text in Facebook. All right. Someone asked me a question I can't answer right away. What is a ruts clovis? Okay, let me write that out. I don't know what this is. Okay. What is a ruts RUTZ clovis? What is that? Someone answer that for me because I have no idea. He says, hey, I was wondering if you ever attempted a reproduction of a ruts clovis. I don't know what that is, so I don't know. I can't answer that. I could just look it up, right? I'd rather not try to look it up. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Last time I was having a big struggle trying to keep up with the chat. Let's see. Angela says, Patrick, would you be offended if I said you look like you could be Anderson Cooper's relative? Nah. Not offended. Because we're not related. Whew. It's good. Yeah. I'm happy about that. Let's see. What are you talking about here? Harley says, one thing I noticed about the basalt is that it doesn't like super high speed strikes. But if you go too slow, it steps badly. You got to be very particular when and where you do things. I don't know. I always speed up. If I'm having trouble with the napping, I never slow it down. I always speed it up. It doesn't matter if it messes it up. Because slowing down the napping for me eliminates the straw in the potato effect. Do you know what the straw in the potato effect is? If you slow it down, it doesn't work. Let's see. Yeah, I should be offended if someone says I look like Anderson Cooper, but it's no big deal. Now, because it doesn't matter. The politics are totally opposite. If you said my politics were the same, then I might be offended. Then I might go, Let's see. Let's see. Jesse says, for the basalt, I realize you can't really get away with striking the very edge like harder flints. Strike and pressure flake it a bit from the edge. Helps the steps a lot. Tommy Taylor says, AFC's in the house. Okay, where is AFC? Oh, hey. There, I missed it. I missed some more stuff here because let's see. Sal says, I can make a sucks clovis. What is a ruts clovis? I should look it up. But that's the kind of questions I get. I get questions that I have no idea where are they getting this stuff from. I'm gonna look it up. And I bet you it's a Clovis fluted from base to tip. What is it? It doesn't support a secure connection. Okay, so this is what it is. All right. I've seen that one many times. It's the largest Clovis point on record, and it's got these nubs on it. And it's got this big, long thinning flake or a series of thinning flakes there. Yeah. No, I have not attempted that. I'll answer back on the Facebook or Instagram Messenger, whatever they call it. Let's see. I keep hitting the wrong button. Let's see. I don't have a side view. So I've never attempted it. I said, nope, I need to see a side view before I can reproduce it. Before I even have a chance to reproduce something, I need a side view. Now I'm going to see if the Lithic Casting Lab site has a side view of it. Let me see. Because they do have pretty good pictures most of the time. It might even give me a dimension. But it just gives a blown up picture. Yeah, it doesn't. I need to see a side view because if that thing is really thin, I won't attempt it because it's a luck point. If it's thick, I might attempt it. All right, let's see. What did I miss? The straw and potato effect is something new that I learned about just now. You haven't heard about the straw and the potato effect that I've been talking about many times on my channel? It's the same as the swiping the tablecloth away and leaving the place setting on the table effect. That's what you use in indirect percussion. And 90% of my technique that's not pressure flaking is the straw and the potato effect or the swiping away of the tablecloth to leave the place setting effect. Okay? When you remove a flake with that effect, you're using the mass of the biface or the object that you're napping against itself. So when you strike, the mass resists. The faster you strike, the more force gets imparted into the flake because the larger object reacts slowly, relatively speaking. Okay, it's the same as if you had a punching bag, right? You just hang up a punching bag, and you take a broomstick, and you hit the punching bag with the broomstick. If you hit it slowly, the punching bag moves a little bit, and nothing happens to the broomstick. If you hit it fast, the broomstick breaks and the bag barely moves. So same with the Flintknapping. If you hit fast, the flake comes off and the object that the flake came off of barely moves. And it reduces the amount of shock on the workpiece the faster you go. With many caveats, right? If it's a very strong platform, you can snap it in half with a really fast strike. So you can't have a platform that's too strong. If it's too weak, you'll crush it. So people have a a hard time adjusting to speed when striking. But my um, entire method of indirect percussion relies on using the mass of the workpiece against itself. That's why I do it freehand, or maybe not why I do it freehand, but why it works freehand. Okay, and not backed up against something else or on my leg with support. I don't support it. I do back it up into my hand sometimes to for added support, but the majority of the time I'm using the mass of the workpiece against itself, even when it's a small, tiny arrowhead. Okay? All right. It's the straw in the potato effect. Let's see. Uh-oh. Are we going to unleash the hounds on people who are not hitting the like button? Let's see. So, Harley, yeah, you need to tell people on Reddit about the straw in the potato effect. Mr. Jim is here. Hello, hello. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Smallzilla, I'm making an Edwards corner notched right now. Keith says, Tommy, nope, but thinking of trading the hounds for German Shepherds, though. Mike says he's making pasta salad. You got to lay off the pasta, dude. I'm saying that as a carnivore. Switch over to carnivore diet or something very similar. Yeah. Not only is it good for your health, it's good for the moods, it's good for brain chemicals. Yeah. I used to have a lot of trouble with depression for absolutely no reason. Fall into these depressive moods, and whatever other moods would just get exacerbated by my poor diet that was full of cookies, cakes, and candies and pasta. It's only okay. The likes are starting to go up. They're starting to go up. They were at 17, now they're at 20. If you don't have an index finger, I'll cut you some slack. You don't have to press the like button. Sal says, I snapped one right in half a couple days ago because I made my platform too strong. Yep. That will do it. Jesse says, usually when you swing super fast and it breaks, it's because of a misstrike. I noticed I get more wild and hit too far back or miss the platform altogether. Yeah. Well, this is with direct percussion. If you're just hitting it with a billet, it's hard to increase speed and be accurate. So that's why I use indirect percussion. Angela says, Patrick, would you, let's see, let me read this first before I announce what's going on here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would not do that. Besides, I wouldn't trust anybody who would design a spacecraft that way anyway. Harley says, jumping right into the monthly challenge, then I see with that Edwards corner notch. For those who don't know, I host monthly napping competitions on the napping subreddit. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, hounds are on the loose, so the likes are starting to go up. Yeah. Mr. Jim says my blood type is Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I remember those days. I didn't like Dr. Pepper as much as Coke, though. Yeah, Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. Mike says it's time to raise my BAC. All right, what is BAC? The first thing I thought it was the bathroom air conditioner. Yeah. Turn up your bathroom air conditioner, okay? Alan says pasta gonna lead to metabolic disease, but it's up to you as long as you know. Yeah, people make the choice. If you want metabolic disease, some people say I can live with it. Diabetes, yeah, no problem. As long as I get to eat my donuts, cakes, and candies, and my Reese's and my Snickers, I'll deal with the diabetes. Yeah, I'll get my foot cut off. I'm not giving up my donuts. Maybe if they cut my other foot off. Some people are funny. Mike says, might as well enjoy it while I can, Patrick. Probably 10 years and I will have to eat just like you. Matter of fact, you should make a cookbook. You wouldn't like my cookbook. No. I mean, I should, right? Everybody else does. I might sell 100 copies or whatever. Better than nothing, right? But still, I make stuff like, I was just talking about this the other day. I make stuff called hamburger turds. Yeah. I just crunch up. I just get ground beef instead of making it into a meatball because I cook with one hand because I'm usually doing something else with the other hand. I'm either don't want to get it dirty or I'm holding a pan or something. Anyway, I'll get some ground beef and instead of making a meatball, I'll just squish it into a sausage shape and drop it in the fat to fry it, and it comes out looking like a little turd. So that's called a hamburger turd. That's my recipe. And you might say, no spices or nothing? No, I'll put the spices after. Yeah, or I dip it in steak sauce or something. But usually I just have it just like that, plain, with a little bit of salt. All right, let's see. Coke is one hell of a beverage. Yeah. And I used to be that type where I might as well do this while I can still enjoy it. But you know what happens? You get so sick that you don't enjoy it right away. I mean, it just within a little while, you just get so sick that you just don't enjoy it anymore. I indulge once in a while. I'll have like cakes and pies and stuff on Christmas or my birthday or Thanksgiving. On the major holidays, I'll have like candy. Like on Halloween, I'll have some Halloween candy. Christmas, I'll have a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I can still have it. I just quit doing that before it was too late. Luckily, it wasn't too late, and I can still enjoy those things once in a while. The blood alcohol content is BAC. I like bathroom air conditioner better. Let's see. The hounds have full bellies and are being quiet, says Gary. Mike says, to be fair, I'm not huge on much but meat. As a kid, I preferred a birthday ham over a cake. Not big into sweets. Well, that's good. You get lucky then. I used to, we didn't have very much as far as birthday celebrations when I was little. But when I had kids, yeah, we went all out on birthday celebrations. So they got not only the cakes, but they got the desserts because some of them didn't want the cake. They wanted a parfait or something like that. And I got the ice creams, different varieties, and those little push pops where you push out whatever. Lots of push pops, lots of ice cream sandwiches and stuff, and whatever everybody wanted. Yeah. Those were the days. And I'm glad I quit those days before it was too late. Yeah, page 1, hamburger turds. They're called hamburger turds. Keith says, I don't think you can cook at 56.2 degrees. No, that's usually the temperature I eat my food at. Do you remember who Lorraine Bobbitt is? Let's see. The one who got shot. If that's the one, yeah. But we try not to talk about politics on the channel, on the live stream, I mean. I think her name was Lorena, not Lorraine. I don't know if that's right spelling. Let's see. Add some brown gravy on them turds. Yeah, but no, I just have them just like that. They're good for dipping. I should do a T-shirt. Put on the back of the T-shirt, tendies and hamburger turds, because that's what I eat. Chicken tenders and ground beef, fried in fat to look like little turds. I can't believe I'm still talking about that. Sal says, Pete, that's what Rick James says. Well, kind of. I don't understand what's going on here. Let's see. Jesse says, if you participate in the auction, don't forget to like it also. I must admit I was forgetting before. Yeah. A lot of times I don't get likes on the auction itself. Yeah. Mike Mason says, make Coca-Cola great again. Just buy it from Mexico. Yeah. Just buy Mexican Coke. It's always been great. Alan says, my body rejects sugar so fast these days. One bite of a homemade lemon blueberry muffin last Thanksgiving screwed me up. I was sick for 3 days. Yeah, I do get sick. It takes me a while, though. Yeah, I remember last Halloween, I ate like half a dozen Reese's peanut butter cups while I was giving away candy. And it didn't hit me until I started to fall asleep that night. Yeah, pardon me, hamburger turds. Let's see. Mr. Jim says, Pat, I see you sanding the edge of your project with a coarse stone. What is this called and why do you do it? The edge of my project with a coarse stone? Which video are you talking about? Yeah, let me know which video that is, Mr. Jim. Steven says, do you get pains in your left hand knuckles? I do, but I think it's because sometimes I try to take too much material with one strike. No, but I got a permanent bone spur right there in the middle of my hand from putting the workpiece right up against my hand right there. Right in the middle. I got a little bone spur now in there. It's not sore anymore. It used to get sore right there. But now I can feel that little hard bone spur or whatever it is in there. But no, I don't get sore on my knuckles. Luckily, that would be terrible. Mike says, yeah, I was raised on deer and squirrel. When I get reduced to pig, cow, and chicken, my mouth gets depressed. I see. I prefer game. Ready to get some turtle meat next month. Awesome. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so let me look that up. Obviously, I don't know who Lorraine Bobbitt is. Are you making me look up something I shouldn't be looking up? Let me see. What is going on here? Yeah, I don't see it. Okay, I don't see it. Let's see. Peter says, okay. Peter says, no, Lorena was the one who decided her boyfriend needed to be less cocky. Okay. That one from that news story a long time ago? Oh, there you go. But see, that was Lorena, not Lorraine, because you messing me up with Lorraine. Okay? Yeah. I know who you're talking about now, but you messed me up with their spelling there. As usual, I get messed up with spellings. Let me see. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna look something up on the side just out of curiosity. Okay, never mind. I got that one totally wrong. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me go here. Let me go back and see what's going on here. Peter says, course of Brader. Let me see. Okay, I need to catch up with the chat here. I missed a bunch of stuff. Okay, let's see. Smallzilla says one of the best things that this basalt is good for is showing you how much more wonderful it is to work on actually good material. It just picked up some. I just picked up some obsidian, and it's nothing but bliss. Well, compared to the basalt, yeah. But there's fine-grained basalt that naps really, really well. You need to get a hold of some of that. They still put the coke in the cola in Mexico. No, they still put the real sugar in the coke in Mexico. You know that. Yeah, besides the Coca-Cola that used to have cocaine probably doesn't taste very good. Let's see. Coarse abrader. I think he meant when you grind the edges. Smooth the edges for better striking surface. So are you asking why do I abrade? I mean, you can't tell what happens. If you watch my videos, right, which I don't know how many videos you've seen, but I'm napping, right, and it crushes the edge, so I abrade, and then if I nap and it crushes the edge again, I abrade more, and I look around and let's say there's nothing abraded and I hit something and it doesn't remove a flake. I got to get my abrader. What does that tell you? Does it tell you anything? I can't. I don't know what it tells me unless you say something. I'm looking right at it, and I know what you're doing, and you're doing the abrading before the this and that and this and that, or after this and that, but I don't know what it means. Right? Is that you? I know I'm being a pest. Yes, I know. I'm being facetious, right? But uh, a lot of things in flint napping can be solved for you if you just look with your eyes instead of looking with your ears. Like people say, what does that mean? Some people they can't see it unless they like what they're hearing, right? So if I tell you exactly why I abrade and you like the explanation, all of a sudden you can see why I abrade. But I recommend that you not do that, even though that'd be one way that I could show you why. The best way is to actually look with your eyes, even though your eyes might not like what they're seeing. Okay? You know what I mean? If you can't figure it out, you're watching it, but you can't figure it out. But just keep watching it until it clicks. That's the best way to learn because then no one can fool you into thinking something else. Does that make sense? Because in the beginning, when I started napping, I paid attention to people who didn't know what they were talking about, and I couldn't understand why was it that I was not getting the results I wanted. It's because they didn't know what they were talking about. So I just started watching what they were doing. I didn't pay attention to what they were saying, even though if I liked it or not. Especially if I liked what they were saying, let's just watch and see what they're doing exactly, and then figure it out. And once you learn that, you find out that people are saying all kinds of goofy stuff. I mean, it's just sometimes it's just ridiculous, and you're wondering, do they actually believe that that's what's happening, or they're just repeating what they heard because they that's what they like. I don't know. Yeah, Angela's definitely trolling me because Angela's a dude. I could put him in timeout, but I feel sorry for him because he's only commented during this live stream in his whole life. Yeah, that's the only time he's ever commented. So I feel sorry. I don't want to dash his hopes for a future. Let me see. Sal says, Angela, if you're so fascinated with it, you should know all about it and don't even know when it happened. Yeah. Yeah. If you bring up a news story and you're fascinated with it and you don't know the details, what are you doing? Let's see. Maybe I just need to seat the workpiece against my palm, says Stephen. I usually just hold it with my fingers. I'll try it. Thanks. Yeah, you can try that. Oh, someone gave me a $5 super chat. Brennan's here. Howdy, fellas. Sorry I had a double doctor appointment. Oh, dang. Yeah, some people are trying to troll the troll. Let's see here. Yeah, Keith gave me $5. I'm thinking of a new project. I'm going to call it Sweetwater Marble. It never gets old, actually, when making those marbles. Jay Valente is here. Hey, I did more control step fractures today. Awesome. Those controlled step fractures are part of the technology. You know that, right? That's the kind of thing I was just talking about where people say stuff that's really kooky. Let's see. Abrading is thickening the edge to get a better flake with the strike, says Steven. Let's see. What I can't read some of this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to skip some of the comments. Let's see. Jesse says, Jay, your truck napping video was cool. You got a pretty good flute with direct percussion. Jim Main is here. Yeah. Did I see you earlier? Or you've been here since the beginning of this live stream? I think you were here since the beginning. Mike Mason says, what Patrick is saying reminds me of the botany channel I watch. Crime pays, biting doesn't. I think some of y'all would like his humor, but when it comes to him identifying plants, a 1 out of 2, probably understood more of the scientific stuff he is saying than most laymen would. I see. Yeah, Keith is a legend. Mike says, it's not that obvious the purpose of abrading to a new person. You don't think so? I'm trying to think back. There were 2 uses for abrading in Flintknapping I picked up right away. One is like when dulling the edges on a clovis, the sides of a clovis, you abrade to dull the edges and then abrade before you strike, because it's obvious once you start Flintknapping that when you abrade, it makes the edge stronger. Not only do you see it as a progression in a video, but you can immediately determine that, especially in pressure flaking, that if you try to pressure on a sharp edge, it's going to crack right away. So you have to make it stronger, and then it'll crack again, and then you got to make it even stronger. So most people start with pressure flaking, and within 10 minutes, they know what abrading's for. But sometimes, and I don't understand, and it's probably on my end, why I don't understand why people ask about abrading with percussion when they understand it within 10 minutes with pressure, right? I don't know. Maybe they don't understand within 10 minutes with pressure flaking. Maybe I never done pressure flaking. I only done percussion because that's the pure Flintknapping. Is that what's happening? Some people only do percussion. That's it, because that's pure. Yeah. It's not contaminated with pressure or any of the funny stuff going on. Let's see. Smallzilla says, on the subject of abrasion, I was one of the newbies who thought it was unnecessary and just made a mess. Once I began doing it, I realized it was game-changing. Ah, so it was a thought experiment with you that it was making a mess? Or you were napping without abrading, and then it was making a big mess until you started abrading, and then you made less of a mess. I'm talking about breakages, I suppose, and step fractures. He was also asking, what do you use? Okay. So let's see. He was also asking, what do you use? Answer broken grinding wheel. Yeah, but lately I've been using an abrader you can buy on a website, Danny Collins Lithics and Leather. He has a website called flintknappingtraditions.com, and in his tools on his website, there's abraders that you can buy, right? As far as I remember, and they're coarse or fine abraders. But yeah, if you want to go the cheap route, you just buy a grinding wheel for a bench grinder at the hardware store. They're all medium grit, unless you have a hardware store that's awesome. But just get the medium grit grinding wheels, 6-inch. I think that comes standard 6-inch grinding wheels for bench grinders, and you break them into fourths. Let's see. Angela's mom must have let him out of the basement. She would spend more time with spilling. Donnie R is here. Hey, hey. Mike Mason. Mike, I've used this sidewalk before. I don't know. Donnie says, Angela's my... So Donnie R is one of the... Have I seen Donnie R before? One of the trolls? Or is it the same one? See, Smallzilla says, I was paranoid about silicosis from the abrasion dust, so I erred on the side of caution, and the glass dust made me itchy. So I didn't do it and could never flake very well, was frustrated for weeks. So you knew about the silicosis before you started napping? Or was it a discussion that you saw on forums that the Karens were talking about the dust? So you got scared. I'm not saying it's something to make fun of, but what I'm saying is it would be odd, I think, to hear about the warning of dust before you actually get into flint napping, unless you just lurked around or participated in the forums without napping. Then I can understand, yeah. Jim Main says, a piece of concrete block works if you have nothing else. Yeah, that's what I used to use. Concrete cinder block. Pieces from that. And the actual whole cinder blocks, sometimes I would just reach over and grind the workpiece on the cinder block right next to me, sitting right next to me. So I would have broken up cinder blocks, but the cinder block next to me had a dished out area where I kept abrading on it. Let's see. Yeah, that's why we nap outside. I'm one of the dirt bags, yes. Donnie R is one of the dirt bags. Mike says, I nap outside for reasons. Yeah. Jay says, yeah, I just nap outside unless I nap inside. Then I nap inside. Mm-hmm. Jesse says, another thing I learned from Pat is that if you hinge out, rebevel, abrade to try to get under the step, never strike direct into a step or you will have a double step. Yeah. Donnie R. But I'm only half dirt bag from the neck down, says Donnie R. That's cool, I suppose. So let's see. We got 50 more minutes. What are your questions? And let me check the auction real quick now that I've caught up with the chat. I'll check the auction and see if I have likes on everything that I see. The way that you know that I see your bids is with the likes. you'll have a like on your bid if I see it. Yes, yes. Let's go to the auction itself. Okay. Go to the comment section. There you go. All right. So we got, yep, we're getting more bids. Oh, I was, let's see. Sal sent me a point that he made that he said I could either sell it or keep it. And now I thought, hey, I could put that point that he made in the auction, but I'm not going to. I'm going to make a duplicate of it and put the duplicate in the auction. Yeah. That way I have the original. That way you can't have it. Yeah. I'm not going to let you have it. Let's see here. You guys are bidding a lot. Mm-hmm. All righty. Yep, everything is being bid on. Yes, yes, yes. Multiple bids on many things. Let's see here. Mike Mason says, Patrick, how do you know what Jim just said, but didn't understand when I said I have used the sidewalk before? Is your sidewalk made of cinder block? I don't think so. Bill Henson said, I think maybe a half wit from the neck up. There you go. That's clever. Sal says, hey, how long were your cane arrows without the foreshaft? They vary. It depends on what it says in the book. Let me see. Sometimes it doesn't say. They vary, Sal, depending on the reproduction. Some arrow shafts without the foreshaft, the cane arrows, are like 16 inches long. I've seen them that short. Some of them are up to 29 inches. It depends on the one that you're trying to reproduce. Ross Wellman says, Patrick, speaking of Danny Collins, I won the giveaway on his channel a couple of days ago. Got a point and some rock coming. How cool is that? That is cool. Very cool. Jay says, I'll bid on some stuff when I get to my next campsite. I'm broke for now. I see. No worries. No problems. Bushy's here. Bush is in the house. Frodo Joe or Bushy or Harold. His name is Harold. He's in the house. Parallaxical is here. I've used a curb next to the sidewalk. Yeah, I've never napped near the street. I'm afraid of all the flakes going into the street. Parallaxical, because I was sitting on the sidewalk. Yeah. Stephen Benson. Let's see. I'm going to try to read this. Steve says, a friend has been napping for 40 years in enclosed spaces, now in his 70s, and has been tested for silicone or silicosis with clear results, right? I assume you meant silicosis, not silicone. Jay says, hey, Bushy, yeah. Dr. Nathan Excelsior III, hello. Tommy Taylor says, Jay, do you have a YouTube channel with the name Wilderness Quest? Yes, he does. Wilderness Quest Outdoors. But now he put his name in the channel name as well. Jay Valente's Wilderness Quest Outdoors. Right? Let's see. Mike says, LOL, you got me. Isn't cinder block, it's concrete. Yes, that's why I didn't get it. Yes, indeed, Tommy. Yep. Jay Valente has a channel that he's been trying to tell us how to find rocks for years, and people still ask, where do I find rocks? I've searched the entire internet and all of YouTube, and there's nobody talking about how to find rocks. And then within 30 seconds, I give them a list of where to find rocks and videos. Oh, okay. What internet were they looking at? I don't know. Let's see. Sal says, yeah, I have to look at your video. I remember you used chicken feathers, and I believe you used the Sharpie and a knife to put some stripes on the arrow shaft. Oh, yeah. The easiest way to put those stripes on the shaftment on some of those Anasazi arrows, you just paint the whole shaftment black first and then scrape off the paint with a knife and turn the shaft, of course, and then turn. Makes it much easier than to try to draw individual black lines. And I think that's what they used to do also. They would just paint the shaftment black, certain length on a shaftment, which means under the feathers. And then they would scrape off lines, and then they would also incise zigzags into the black as well. That's much harder, but they used to do it. I don't know when. I don't know why though. And that arrow that I have in that video, I sold that one. Or 2 arrows that I have in that video. I sold most of that stuff. Not all of it, most of that stuff. If you can't find it, Sal or Tommy, if you can't find the information, I'll look it up for you. Let's see. Mike says, you would be surprised how much glass winds up in the street in my line of work. I see. Mike Mason says, sup, rep, can I get a mic roll call? There's lots of mics in the chat, yes. Ginger Squatch is here. Angela, did you bring ginger snaps for everybody? Yeah, did you? Mike says, rep, you got any fresh garlic? What's that mean? Jesse, sorry, red-eyed. Poor Sal just had to deal with that too. On one of my wisdom teeth is bothering me too, says Jesse. That's not good. Mike 1, red-eyed patriot. Justin Cornelius is here. Good evening, Patrick and friends. Good evening and evening. You've got 45 minutes to ask your questions or post comments or complaints. Mike Mason's mic number 2. Tommy says, I should be able to find his channel. Yes. Dr. Nathan Excelsior III, Ginger Squatch. Yep, yours is right here in my ginger snatch. Mike says, Mike, do you have any fresh garlic on hand? I don't know what that means. Okay. Stephen Benson says, gotta run. See you on YouTube. Alrighty. Take care. Thanks for sending the information on the Knapping. What Knapping is that? Where? It's Wisconsin. Yeah. May 15th through 18th. I got the information here. I'll put it in the comments down below once the live stream is ended. Let me write that down. I'll place the update on this Knapping in the comment section below after this live stream is ended. Okay, I got 2 flyers from Steven. Yeah, there's two Sparta, Wisconsin Knappings. I didn't even know. One in the spring, one in the fall. The one in spring is coming up in 10 days. Let's see. Pat, you got some insane stone in your last couple of unboxings. Class act, guys. Great stuff. Oh, yeah. I got some really good stuff. Yes, I did. That was very good. Going to any Knappings this year, Patrick? Well, for sure, I don't know, but I'd like to. I need to get down to Letchworth for sure this year sometime. I still have the summer and fall Knappings at Letchworth that are still open for me to go to, right? And I might go to Texas in the fall as well. So if those dates conflict, I can only go to one or the other. I want to go to a Knapping this fall. Yeah. But who knows what family stuff is still kind of interfering with a lot of stuff, or not interfering. I can't plan on anything for sure because family stuff still pops up, and I had to prioritize that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. I'm learning there's a bunch of us here in the Northeast. We just never get together. So we'll need to try to do that. I think Letchworth would be a good place to do that. Let's see. AFC's here. What did I miss? There's been unusual troll activity. Yeah. Other than that, same old silliness. Okay, fresh garlic, salt, and black pepper packed onto the gums of the tooth helps a lot, if nothing else. Do what you're doing. So for a toothache or something, or an infection on the tooth, Fertile Joe or Bushy says, Jay, last I seen, Ken was drinking moonshine out there. That happens a lot. Parallaxical says, after the countless videos I've seen by Patrick alone, it was still worth watching the last 4-part series of Flake comparison. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad they're still relevant. Yeah. Mike Mason says, how do I know about the garlic? I don't know. Ask for Corn says, sorry, I've been slammed at work. Dang, that's not good. Letchworth is the best place. Freaking love it there. Yeah, I've heard good things about Letchworth. Gary says, you missed the door prize drawing. Yeah, these people, these latecomers. Let's see. AFC says, the Danes know how to handle a troll. Mike says, AFC, that's me, Wednesday. Okay, the cervix slapper samurai is here. I will not read your comments. You can post them. I'm just not going to read them. Mike M, you need some amoxicillin, says Sal. Yeah. AFC, you missed the door prize. Yeah. AFC is Ask for Corn, by the way. Ask for Corn says a warm, wet paper towel or gauze helps if you don't have lidocaine. Bushy says, Jay, I hunted out there, killed my first bow buck right across the river from the Knapping area. Awesome. Jesse says, why are the damn moose larger billets so damn expensive? Crazy prices using 2-inch diameter aluminum until I get one. Yeah, the moose antler stuff, especially the larger billets, unless you are dead set on using natural tools, I don't think they're worth it. Yeah, but I can't talk because within the first 2 years of napping, I bought a half a side of a moose. You know, the antlers on one side of a moose cost me $250. At that time, it was a good price. I can't imagine what it is now. Because everyone wants to buy the moose billets, and I don't know why. Aluminum works it works 5 times better, and it's almost the same weight. It's very similar. See, aluminum is almost the same weight as a hammerstone, and a moose antler is the densest antler you can get, so that's almost the same weight as well. Although it is, substantially lighter if you make them the same size. The advantage of the moose billet is it's very large. But unless you're, dead set on using natural tools, I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. Talking about baby aspirin on the tooth also. I see. Mm-hmm. It's samurai. Samuel, not samurai. Okay, Samuel, not samurai. I see. But it's funnier if it's cervix slapper samurai. Yeah. But whatever. Yeah, whatever, dude. I'm used to it. My kids say that too. Whatever, Dad. Whatever. Yeah, I'm used to it. If he was a samurai, there's no way he'd be slapping anybody's cervix. Alan Cole says vitamin C is used by the body to build collagen. If you aren't supplementing and have dental issues, it may help. Also, eliminating sugar, but that's the hardest. Yeah. I heard that also if you smoke, tobacco, vitamin C helps too. And I learned that from a chat. So I've been taking some vitamin C. Although I've cut way back on tobacco smoking from a couple of years ago. Sal says for that toothache. Oh, yeah. Talking about toothaches. Frodo Joe says, Pat, I found a half moose at a flea market, $40, and made 4 or 5 knife handles, and I got the billet. Wow. I can never be that lucky. It cost me $250 for that half. Yeah, and this was back in 2010. I think before I started posting videos. Yeah, I spent way too much on antler when I started. I think at the time, I remember saying that I spent $600 on natural tools. And this was all before I started posting videos, I think. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. No. Do I like using natural tools? Sure. Yeah, I'll use natural tools. In fact, I like the results. I never like the process, but I like the results using natural tools. Yeah. AFC, you want to try hippo or elephant ivory sometime? I don't know if you can get it. It's supposedly illegal. Most of this ivory stuff is no longer legal. I have a big tusk, a boar's tusk that I could be using as a billet. It's a cool thing. I was gifted that one. I didn't have to buy that, which is very generous. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, ivory is more dense than moose antler. Yes, it is. Any kind of ivory, like tusks or things like that. Let's see. Jesse says I saw a walrus tusk billet once. Yeah, the most. Um, I don't know if it's the most, but another alternative to moose, which is a little bit less expensive, is axis deer antler. Axis, AXIS. Axis deer antler is much cheaper and it's worth it in that case. And it's very dense. Axis deer antler, if you can get a big one, is just as dense and maybe even more dense than moose. But it depends, depends on the nutrition that the animal is getting. Yeah, sometimes, I've had moose billets, I've had deer antler billets, and I've had all kinds of natural tools that supposedly come from the same animal but have very different properties from each other. And I think it has to do with how the animal grows or what its nutrition intake was. Alan says, yes, nicotine absorbs vitamin C. So if you indulge in tobacco products, taking extra vitamin C is a very good idea. Yeah, I learned that from the chat. My big moose billet is harder than a rock, so I use copper. Okay. Well, sell it to Who's asking for moose antler? Sell it to that guy. What's the best small antler billet for medium grade rock? I tried elk, but it's too soft. Yeah, the best small antler billet for medium grade is a whitetail or axis deer. Let's see here. AFC says, it does seem like I can make a longer flake with antler, but that may be a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. No, it depends on how much the billet wraps the edge. Okay. If the billet wraps around the edge and pulls without slipping, it can generate a longer flake. So that's the key. It's got to hit and not slip. Metal, a lot of times, will hit, but it'll slip before it stops. Antler, it can grip it, and as long as it doesn't break and crumble, it'll grab it and it won't slip as much. That's what generates the longer flakes. It's the grip. So if you can find a material that grips really well and is dense and heavy, it'll pull the flakes off. And if you want a metal that does that, aluminum is your ticket. Yeah. Although it does slip, it can get slippery. It still works pretty well. Let me see. Tommy Taylor says, yes, moonshine, just don't spit after a bit and you will forget about the tooth. Mammoth ivory. Yeah. Mammoth ivory, we don't know if that was used for billets back in the day. But keep in mind that mammoth ivory has layers in it, so it may flake as you're knapping it with it. Now today, the only thing you can get is extremely old, very worn out, or I don't know, decayed mammoth ivory, if it's legal to possess. Yeah, you need to get some excess deer, Jay. Excess deer antler. Excuse me. Let's see. It says, I bet you can make a big composite hammer with a large sperm whale's tooth. I saw an old Fred Bear film where he had collected some in Alaska. Yeah, tooth is different though. If it's a real tooth, it has an enamel that's way too hard. It doesn't work. How do I know teeth doesn't work? I don't know. They snap easy. There is no tooth that I have found that works well on stone for flintknapping. None. Except tusk, which I have tried it slightly and it looked like it might work, but I think it also flakes and breaks up. I have a large boar's tusk. Axis deer is from India. Yes, yes. But they also are now exotic in the United States. And when I was in Texas, during my last deer hunts, we saw some axis deer on nearby ranches, and they stalk axis deer now in Texas for hunting. And I got some axis deer antler actually from my taxidermy friend of mine, and it's excellent stuff. I had some before then, but they were just small pieces. I had no idea that axis deer antler can actually get as big as, or as big around as whitetail deer antler. Jay may have a lead on axis deer here in New York. Bushy says, 2 of my friends are going on a guided moose antler hunt soon in Maine. I'll let you know what they find. Awesome. Sheds work as long as they're not sitting on the ground too long. Warning, if you buy dog chew antlers online, they've been boiled and are too soft. Oh, okay. Whitetail is 100%. Yes, yes. The elk I got is definitely too soft. Yeah. I've used elk though. I don't mind using elk for a billet. People use wood for billets, so elk antler is definitely more dense than wood. Jesse, you got my thumbs over there, bud. Jay says, Gary, get me some. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm way behind on the chat. What happened? There was a question I need to answer. Let's see. Okay, yeah, natural tools equals way more upkeep on the business end too. Yes. Jesse says, yeah, Mongo on my phone can't type on phone keyboard. I have to dig for the info, says Gary. I have caribou antlers for tools and knife handles, says Ralph. Awesome. Caribou antler actually works good too, but it is lightweight, like similar to elk. Ask for corn says bone or antler, I should say. I guess a hammerstone is a natural tool too. Oh yeah. Mike says, so should I curve my metal pressure flaker? If you want to, if you can get a better result. Yeah. Put a curve in the metal billet. Yeah, why not? Mike says, should I? Okay. Ferto Joe, Jay, I bought all of Gary's antlers the last 2 years. Now he's doubled his price. Dang it. Hate it when that happens. Mike Mason says, notice the way I designed that spatula tool? Yeah, I saw like the upper side and the lower side or something written on it. Yeah, and it's kind of bent. Yeah, I noticed that. Dave Valente says, New England Crew, Antler Wars. LOL. Uh-huh. Pat's Freddy Krueger punch notcher is cool. Thank you, thank you. I call it a bird beak notcher. Is that the one you're talking about? But Freddy Krueger is okay too. All right. You guys watch the typos so I don't have to keep reading the typo corrections. Gary says, LOL, they have been hard to come by this year. Heart acted up the last 2 years when shed season started up. I see. AFC says, good to know. I thought sperm whale's teeth were like ivory. No, I think they're just the big teeth with a hard coating of enamel on them. Jim Cooper says, I live in the Pacific Northwest where antler is plentiful, yet places like Moscow hide and fur charges a ridiculous premium for even low quality. Yeah, I've seen that. But a lot of customers for Moscow hide and fur are people that live in apparently far away from everything, or they're like heavily urbanized areas. Yeah, I've had people ask me and tell me they'll pay such and such amount of money for something as simple as amoeba flakes, where you can get them for free at a nap-in. They just don't know. Yeah, or they can't. They don't have the ability to look. But apparently they have money. AFC says, that's right. My uncle gets a tax write-off in Texas because of axis deer. Haha. Yep. That's a good way to go about it. Alan Cole says, Ralph, mammoth ivory is really fragile nowadays. Most uses are strictly cosmetic, knife handles, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's decayed. Ed says, we used to get billets of something that looked like brown fiberglass rods that worked pretty well. I have not tried fiberglass rods for billets. It seems like it would work, although it seems also like it would split or, get real fuzzy and frayed if it's anything like fiberglass that I've used. I saw an antelope horn, says Jesse, cut for a dig crew, and its hollow looks like a blade will fit perfect in the hole, and the handle curves for your hand. Yes, antelope. Yeah. Ed Gould is here. Hello, hello. You've got like 20 minutes. Let's see. Mike says, bless you, Pat. That seemed rough. Yeah, sometimes I have these phlegm flare ups. All right, where am I? Money in the house. Yeah. Ed Gould's in the house. E Money is here. Jordan Kirkpatrick says he almost missed it. Yeah, almost missed it. I bought all I could in Warrensburg last fall, says Bushy. One old lady had a bunch she wanted, $75 each. I told her to take a hike. I didn't buy hers. I see Will Lord is using red stag antler. Red stag antler is almost the same as elk antler. Keith says, everyone got to check your bids now. E-money is here. Yep. Bushy says, I used to find a lot of them when I was surveying. Yeah, lucky. Let's see. Ed says, you all saw the 2-piece blade Jake got? I don't know. Axis steer is very good on the table as well, says Mr. Jim. Yeah, it is. I've had it one time, and it was excellent. Yes. It has a very good earthy flavor. Let's see. Blades and points. Sal says, Patrick, I still have that Axis antler Henry passed out to us at the nap-in. Not in any hurry to go abo. Yeah, we had a very generous. Henry's very generous, right? He's a taxidermist, and he's got lots of antlers and stuff left over. If he can't use it for a mount, he just gives it away. Anyway, he gave Sal and I some antler a couple years ago. Axis deer. I still got it too, but I'm using mine. Yes, I've used it a couple times already. It makes you not want to use any other kind of antler. Yep. Has everyone hit the like button? Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good on the likes because there's more likes than people commenting. $5. Who gave me $5? It doesn't say. Whoever gave me $5, thank you. Smallzilla or Harley says, I got to head off to make some dinner and water my plants. Enjoyed napping while listening to the stream. Have a good night, y'all. Good night. See you next time. Next live stream is Wednesday. Ralph says, I went road hunting for caribou in Quebec. We each had a distance of road to drive along for the hunt. Limit back then was two caribou per season. Dang, that was hard to get out. Tommy says, Frodo, the tariff reason price is double. I don't know if we import antlers. We can get a lot of domestic antlers. Let's see. Everyone says, hi, Scott Lauer's in the house. All right. Did I miss? He's in the house. Hey. Scott Lauer's from the UK. Let me see here. Everyone say hi. Everyone say goodbye. All right. I'm starting to catch up with the chat now. Alan Cole says, I'm going on a 3-day smallmouth bass trip in a couple of weeks. The river we are fishing has no limit on size or number of bass. Also, no restrictions on lures or use of bait. Sounds like a Patrick's favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite. Whatever has no bag limits, no time of day restrictions, and you can use any kind of weapon on it or any kind of fishing tackle. That's what I like to hunt or fish for. Yes. Jesse gave me $5. Thank you, thank you. Now I can see who gave it to me. Before I couldn't see who gave it to me. Let's see. Mike says, what food or drink replaced the energy from soda and sweets? Right here. That replaced the energy from soda and sweets. That's it. Caffeine. And it didn't really give me, caffeine doesn't give you energy. It just stops the impulse to want to go to sleep because I, constantly want to take naps. I've never had high energy ever, even when I was eating lots of carbohydrates. Let's see. Mike says, I'm today years old and knowing you can like a super chat. Okay, let's see if I can like that one. I can't like it. So you're today years old and finding out that I can't like the super chat. But you can. Bushy says, Gary, can you send an email to Patrick? If so, he has my email. Yeah, send me an email. I'll give you Bushy's information if you need it or whatever. Now that I have Bushy's permission. Ralph says, these caribou were wild and they were on the big end of summer migration. Big herds. That's awesome. Jesse says, Pat had a record super chat last time. Keith got it started this time. Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of donations on super chat last time. That was excellent. Ed says, I know Jesse saw Jake's 2-blade finish. Jim Cooper says, night, guys. Hopefully see you Friday. All right. We'll see you Friday. Good to see you this time. Jay says, I just found an entire elk antler shed. It's huge and heavy. It's in my bathroom. What's it doing in there? Gary says, save it for me, Jay. Brandon says, night, everybody. Night, friend, they hoes. Jay, I call dibs. Yeah, Jesse says he calls dibs. Let's see. Leah has claimed it as decoration, Gary. Oh, dang it. Jay, it wasn't found in Mystic. It'll be there again next month. I see. Gary says, she is fired, Jay. Jordan says, just send it to your email, Patrick. Okay, good. All right. I'll look at the email in a little bit. All right. Mike says, Ellen, was that you that told me you got no blue cats in your area? They are nice, good fighters, get bigger in rivers than lakes, though. They are starting a program here to sure them up. Keith says, Patrick, I don't know what that means. AFC says, I'm sitting here watching some dolphins swim by really close. So neat. Yeah, he's the one on the beach. Gary says, it keeps the air on air sign. It keeps the on air sign on. Yes. Donations keep the on air sign on. Yes, they do. Let me see. You see both signs. I like to be able to see both these signs equally. There's still sunlight out. I'm amazed. Talking about catfish. Let's see. Ed says, I got a few bids on Jake's blade, but was too slow. Jesse says, Pat, your auction is going good. Let me see. You guys have got 10 minutes to post your questions. AFC says he'll post a short video of them. All right. All right. So what do we got on the auction? What do we got for new bids? Oh, yes. Well, that one was 30 minutes old. I hadn't checked in 30 minutes. Dang it. Yeah, lots of bids. Mm-hmm. So everybody wants these items. The boxes of flakes do pretty good. I'm amazed. I'm always amazed by how well the boxes of flakes do. Yeah, but I understand that material is hard to come by. It is hard to come by, especially the good stuff. Jay Valente, love the on-air sign. Yeah, he gave me $1.99. Thank you, Jay. Let's see. Bushy says Pat will have steak tonight and not spam. Yep. Let's see. Ed says I haven't been to the auction. I don't know if I should. Well, if you don't know you should, don't do it because it'll give you anxiety. Yeah. Face snapping chicken and rice, says Gary. That's comfort food right there. Let's see. Keith says, if anyone wants to know, I'm crying. Yeah. Which things are you laughing at? There's a lot to choose from. Sardines on a cracker is something. Let's see. Bushy, who are you responding to with that one? Mike says, I always feel lucky getting a blue catfish. Yeah, you rock, Jay. Yeah. Let's see. Jordan says, if that colorful Jasper Flintknapping good, I'm going to fill the backpack next time. Okay, if that colorful Jasper Flintnaps good, I'm going to fill the backpack next time. Yeah. Do it. Do it anyway. Bushy says, my flint flakes raised my elevation 2 feet in my driveway. Wow. If that's a huge amount. That means you've been napping quite a bit there, Bushy. Yeah, sardines are good. I like sardines. Sal says, I mentioned earlier the winner of the amoeba should heat treat some at 350 degrees for about 4 hours. It will be primo. Yeah, you can heat treat that stuff. Yeah. So if you get a box of those flakes, you can heat treat some of them. See how it works out for you. Yeah. What I recommend to new guys is heat treat stone for new people. But they don't know how to heat treat the stone themselves, so that's the conundrum. Yeah. People always ask me, "What do you recommend for new nappers?" I don't know if I answered the last time very well because I said, "Are you prepared to get what I recommend? Do you have access to anything that I might recommend? Because if you do, you're ahead of 99% of all nappers." Yeah. Alan Cole says, "How are the Clovis and Cody complex points coming along?" I just practice, keep practicing and practicing. It's a whole different mindset. The Clovis is a different mindset from most points, and then the Cody points are the different mindset from everything else. And then there's Folsom, which are different from everything else as well. They're different mindsets, and to be able to do all of them as a single napper, to be able to do Clovis, Folsom, Cody, and stuff like Humboldt and St. Mary's Hall and these other points that have these parallel flaking patterns on them. A lot of them are completely separate in mindsets from each other. So to have the skill in all of those, you have to compartmentalize. And then you have to compartmentalize the archaic, random bold flake style, and then the archaic small flake style. And they get mixed up. Some blades will have bold flakes on the lower section and little tiny sequential flakes on the tip, as an example. So they mix, they match, they also separate. But for a napper to have all of those under his belt requires you to compartmentalize these things. So I haven't compartmentalized the Cody, the Eden, the Scottsbluff well enough to do those by memory. I got to keep looking at the book and looking at the casts, and man, I haven't got used to them yet. Alan says, I'll be here until the end. Just wanted to say, great group of humans here, minus the trolls. Great auction items, Patrick. Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. AFC says, Pat, did you miss question about the Hudson Chert or did I miss response? I missed the question about Hudson Chert. I don't remember. I don't know what it was. Okay, what is this? Ralph says, Sal has the tallest turkey roaster I have ever seen. Looks like you could stack two turkeys on top of each other. You never know. He might have one turkey roaster stacked on the other. Did you know that you can make a turkey roaster sandwich where one roaster is stacked on top of the other one? You can achieve higher heats that way, but I don't recommend it because it probably exceeds the heat tolerance of the appliance. Yeah. So you could start a fire, in other words. Ask Butters here. I've arrived. What's up? You got 3 minutes. That's what's up. Ask questions or post your comments and complaints. Tommy says, yes, Alan, good group of people here. Yeah. Mike says, grabs a bat to have a talk with the thumbs. Let's see. Mike says, people are weirdos. When did you figure that out? Everyone says hello to AB. Let's see. Sal says, mine is old and kind of big, just one. Tommy says, AB, I was about to send a welfare check on you. Send a welfare check to see how you were doing. Keith says, everyone keep an eye on E-Money while you bid. He's a sneaky sniper. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you'll get sniped in the auction. Yeah. AB has arrived. Praise the 9. Patrick, how are the skunks? Well, one of them is now active during the day, all day. I think that one I'm calling Jumpy. And some of the neighbors walk by and they go, hey, look, there's a skunk on the porch. So yeah, he's been active. The rest of them, I don't know. I don't see them at night anymore. Well, it's been raining, so they haven't been around at night. But the food is always gone in the morning. Stinky J Esquire is growing his hair back. I see. Let's see here. Bushy says, Alan, last fall a bear charged me, stopped 20 feet from me. Yeah. That would be kind of scary. I think I would have shot that bear before he got that close. Gonna make a mountain lion spear for hiking and rock hounding, says Jesse, out of the big butterscotch blade I got from Patrick. I guess lots of lions near Burrow Creek. There's lots of lions near Burrow Creek. Mike says, as a dog person, I'm unthreatened, Keith. Ed says, I'm usually in early. Talking about the auctions, I guess. AB says, we have raccoons that won't stay off our porch. Yeah, I've seen that happen. But there's no raccoons around here that I've seen so far. Open season pretty much year-round here, Ferdo Joe, says Alan. Great summer sausage. Yeah. Tommy says, E-Money wants to get me tonight, saving my money for tractor parts, starting a new restoration project. I see. All right, so it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to end the live stream here. Mike says, I never have raccoons anymore. I evicted one from the trash can with a stern voice and it told all the others. I guess so. Ed says, they're going to drive me away from your auctions. I don't think so. Let's see. Ask for Corn says, well, if that Hudson chert quarry from that archaeologist video I shared with you is close by, you should go scouting around the area. It looked incredible. Okay, so the archaeologist video for the Hudson chert. Okay, I did see some of that. Let me see if I can remember. I apologize. I can't remember much from that. I have to look at it again. Yeah, I got to look at that again. I thought I did respond to some of that. Okay. I'm going to end the stream here. Everyone say good night. The Hudson Chert video. If I find the Hudson Chert video, send a copy to Bushy. Hudson Chert video to Bushy by email. Okay, night everybody. Ralph says, seen a video about releasing honey badgers in Florida to control those pythons. Well, that's an idea. All right, we'll see you guys Wednesday. You already know the schedule. I'm Jordan. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm going to end the live stream. I'm tired. So I'm going to check the auction. The auction ends at 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is 1 hour from now, basically. If you're watching live, whatever your time zone is. And I announce the winners, and then we settle by email, names and addresses and payment methods, in case you haven't seen the auctions before. Okay? And there's one every week. I try to post as many items as I can every week. And if I don't finish an item, I usually just sell the buy face that I start with. I usually try to do a lot of buy faces in the beginning and then make stuff by the end of the week. All right. See you later, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.